It seems to me that every time I do an episode of this series, it starts off with hell. It's been a while since I've done an episode in this series.
There's gonna be a fight tonight!
What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is the fights on Wednesday night. This is your NXT / SmackDown review for the, I believe, 17th of June 2015. As you guys know, that this series happens when I'm not doing on a week where I'm not doing a Q&A, and on a week where I'm not doing a tackle. Problem being, we get a pay-per-view every 2 weeks. It's going to be a while before I can do this, because I got to come up here with my awesome friends, Guapo and Christian, and the rest of the gang, and talk to you guys about whatever pay-per-view's coming up. But we have 5 weeks until the next pay-per-view, so not including my next Q&A, which I really need some more questions for. We should be able to get 4 straight episodes of the fights on Wednesday night, should we not? Anyways, starting off with NXT, we see the same promo, or not, I shouldn't say promo, that's ridiculously offensive. We see the same video package and tribute that we've had for the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, all week. R.I.P., etc. I left my tribute at the beginning of my Cruiserweight video last week, but it's a good little bit of business. And with the what do you call it? How can I say this? With the impact that Dusty Rhodes had on the young stars of NXT, it held a little bit of an extra punch. Opening up NXT with this. I will say a couple of things, okay, about the Dusty Rhodes thing, and I don't want to turn this into a soapbox, and I don't want to take the focus away from the man. One thing I will say is Cody Rhodes' eulogy. I don't know whether you want to call this a good thing or a bad thing, but Cody Rhodes' eulogy for his dad is popping up all over Facebook. Morbid curiosity took over. I read it. It's fucking phenomenal, guys. I don't necessarily agree with it being posted online, but if you want a good read and a good little bit of business there, go give it a read. It's good. I can't sit here and say that I'm an aficionado on Dusty Rhodes. I really can't. My knowledge of his career is limited to what WWE told us after the fact, and references and here, check out this match type of thing. So it wouldn't be right for me to come up and do a tribute video or an RIP video, because I don't have the background to do it. I wouldn't feel right doing it, if that makes sense. But I will say, go read the eulogy. It's fantastic. If you find it on Facebook, if you find it on other things. 2 things I will say. And this is where I hate the wrestling world. I really, really do. And I really don't want to dwell on this. For one thing, TMZ or whoever it was that released the audio track of the 911 call from his wife, you guys are fucking scumbags. And that's morbidity on the highest level, is it not? Second of all, during the pre-show for Money in the Bank, there was a spot where they threw back to the panel with Renee Young and Corey Graves and thing. The sound or the voiceover or whatever, you could tell that Renee Young was a bit choked up, so they cut from there. They went to something else. They went to the back. They went to, I think, the Ask Kevin Owens Twitter segment or whatever. I've seen people all over Twitter absolutely ripping Renee Young a new one for being emotional about somebody that has I don't even want to finish the sentence. I really, really don't. I'm not ranting. Guys, I don't have the energy to rant. I'm tired. That's why you didn't get a Monday Night Raw review. But here's the thing. Renee Young, when Renee Paquette, I watched when she was on The Score, when she was doing Aftermath. When she got taken on by the WWE company, whatever, I thought it was great. When she became a prime candidate member, a really integral part of NXT, I was ecstatic. But she was, exactly, an intricate part of NXT. And NXT, in his later years, was the heartbeat of Dusty Rhodes, was it not? And Dusty Rhodes was the heartbeat of NXT, as any number of wrestlers will tell you. So, yeah, she's gonna be emotional. Yeah, there's a break in the flow of things because somebody just died. You're gonna rip somebody a new one on social media for having an emotional outburst on TV, which is already in front of millions of people. You people fucking suck sometimes. and it's not all of you. It's hopefully not any of you guys. I know my subs, and I'm not kissing ass. You guys are some of the best subs on YouTube, and that's just a fact. But go on Twitter, look up. I hate to even say it, but I think the hashtag was like Renee fails or some bullshit like that. Just some people need to fucking hang themselves. Anyways, sorry, didn't mean to go on to that rant. Let's talk about something that's a little more positive. Let's talk something a little more close to the American Dream's heart. And that is, oh yes, NXT. Start off the night with Enzo, Cass, and Carmella versus Blake Murphy and Alexa Bliss. Continuing the seemingly endless and still awesome story of Blake and Murphy versus Enzo and Cass, which is good. What the fuck are they doing with Blake's hair? Freaking two pigtail braids out to here. He's getting the Sheamus "you look stupid" chance, and he's not even on the main roster yet. It's fantastic. But it is a 6-person intergender match. Enzo and Blake start the match. Headlock by Blake. Shoulder by Blake. Another headlock and another shoulder. Headlock by Enzo and a trip. And he walks, trips him, and he walks up his back, which is a nice, neat little spot. Running crossbody by Enzo. Everybody brawls for a second. Everybody piles in. The girls pile in. Big Cass and Murphy pile in. Enzo and Cass dump the champs out of the ring. And I want to say we go to commercial break, but I mean, they don't have proper commercial breaks on the WWE Network, but they do throw to a little like two maybe less than 2 minute promotional thing, and then they come back. You come back, Enzo channeling his inner Mike Tyson, sticking and jabbing on Blake, but Blake comes back, stomps a mud hole, and Murphy rides a headlock for a long time. Blake and Murphy do what I can only call a botched poetry in motion flying elbow. Because they do the whole, crouch down, jump off, like the poetry in motion, went for the elbow. It just looked awkward. It just looked like he stepped over his partner. It was really, really bad. Headlock by Blake, mud hole by Blake. Murphy eats turnbuckle. Enzo tosses Blake. The girls tag in, and everybody goes nuts. Shoulder blocks and a boot by Carmella. Cass snapmares Blake into the ring and across the ring and into the corner and hits a splash. Spinning sidewalk slam by Big Cass, and he the commentators call it the flying Enzo, but basically Enzo's on the top rope, Cass throws him off the top rope onto his opponent, and Enzo, Cass, and Carmella get the win. It's a nice, decent little thing. I think they've gone too far with this at this point to not have given the belts to... names. It's tired in here. Enzo and Cass. At this point, have this match again, the intergender 6-person tag with the titles on the line is the only way you're going to get out of this, unless there's a pay-per-view where the girls and the guys have 2 separate matches. They have a Joe. I'm tired. Don't pick on me. They have an interview in the back with Samoa Joe about Owens. And he talks for a long time. Joe gives a great promo, and I said this even in TNA. He gives a great promo, but if you watch his promo and then you come out of it and somebody else asks you, what did he say? You have a pretty short answer. He basically talks about making an impact and Owens being a coward. But I couldn't tell you specifically what he said. Now, is that a good thing or not? Because I don't remember a single absolute specific thing that he said. But I come away with the impression that I want him to come away with. He doesn't like the way Owens makes an impression. He's going to make an impression on him tonight by kicking his ass. It's a good little thing. They do a very, very long Finn Balor video thing. It's called Who is Finn Balor? They did part 1 this week. They did part 2 next week. It's basically how he came up in the system over where he's from. And it's all very good. They do a long bit there where they're interviewing Becky Lynch, because apparently at one point Finn Balor had his own gym. He basically plucked, from her perspective, plucked Becky Lynch out of obscurity and gave her first shot. She lied about her age. She told him she was 17 when she was 15, and they've been, busy mates ever since. But it's a good little thing, but there's a lot of things that surprise me, and I think this is one of those things that we're only going to see on NXT. They acknowledge all the other companies they've been in. They drop the name IWGP a lot. They have clips from ICW. They have clips from his gym. They have clips of both him and Becky Lynch in their various indie promotions, and it's cool to see WWE acknowledging other companies, acknowledging the indies. It's like when they had the Punk and Bryan feud and they started talking a little bit about ROH. It's not like when the Monday Night War was going on and you just talk about, oh, these guys came from down there, referring to WCW. I think that's really, really, really cool. Opening up the business and talking about where people were before they are where they are now. It's a nice, neat little touch, and it was something that back in the day, I never understood why they didn't do it. Even TNA will reference their stars that have been in WWE and what they accomplished in WWE. I don't know why, quite frankly, they don't do it the other way around. But then they'd have to acknowledge that R-Truth is a former world champion, technically. So that could be a thing. It was really, really good. I didn't write it all down. I'm sorry, guys. It's just, there was way too much. They gave you a lot of information. They gave you a lot of background story. It was really good, and more than I felt like writing down, if I'm perfectly honest. But there's going to be part 2 next week, and it's good. Charlotte versus some new broad named Cassie was a very, very short for an NXT women's match that went something like this. Shoulder block by Charlotte, snapmare, and Cassie reverses it into a headlock. Charlotte goes for the snapmare. Cassie basically rolls through into a headlock. Charlotte rolls through and into a headlock of her own with her legs, which is great because she's got the big, long legs that she uses for the friggin' figure 8, and we're going to get to that in a second. Charlotte reverses into a leg headlock, which I just said because, yeah. Hop up head scissor by Cassie is really, really nice. And a spin kick, and a boot by Charlotte, and a knee to the face. A neck vice with knees to the face by Charlotte is just like, here's your head, here's my knee. Repeat as necessary. It's good. Running crossbody by Cassie is nice. Flare chops by Charlotte, and a spear. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Spear leaves her prone on the mat for the figure 8, the bridging figure 4 that Charlotte does, and I like the way the announcers feel the need to repeat every single time she does it. It's called the figure 8 because it's twice as good as her daddy's. It's good. I mean, basically, Cassie's brand friggin' new, so you knew who was going to win this, and she's got her potentially starting ongoing feud with the bodybuilding chick, Dana Brooke, who, as I mentioned on a previous Tackle panel, kind of looks like Lana on a lot of steroids, or maybe a little bit of male hormone. Just putting that one out there. Kevin Owens versus Samoa Joe, because this was a short show. Kevin Owens bails to start the match. Joe follows up in suit, says, no, you're not going anywhere. Sort of a face-to-face. Owens slips out. Joe slips right out to meet him face-to-face. They figure Owens is like, okay, if I'm going to get my ass kicked, I might as well do it in the ring. They start with a collar and elbow tie-up, which gets broken up when Owens hits a thumb to the eye. Beat down in the corner by Joe, trading punches and a knockdown by Joe. Corner clothesline by Owens. And Joe says, anything you can do, I can do better. Corner elbow, corner enziguri, in succession. Mudhole by Joe and a running boot. Owens tries to bail up the rampway. Owens comes back, fights back into the ring, and hits the corner cannonball, which, as I will always say, for a guy his size is pretty fucking impressive. Running senton by Owens, who rides a headlock for a long time to remind us that he is indeed a bad guy. Running elbow and a splash by Owens, and leads to another headlock in case you needed a second reminder. Jabs by Joe and a running knee by Owens, which is just the crack of that running knee that Owens does is fantastic. Atomic drop boot and a running senton by Joe. Again, with the whole, you can do a senton, I can do a senton. Anything you can do, I can do better. Jabs and a running enziguri by Joe in the corner. Joe eats post on the outside, and they brawl. The referee gets mowed over as they're brawling, and the match gets thrown out. They're still brawling. They bring out more refs. They do the ref pull apart, and then they brawl. They bring out security and spare roster members from the back, pull them apart again. They're still brawling, and that's how we go off the air. This is one of those rare gems. It's like what I said when Cena and Owens fought the first time. You don't want a winner in this. I was surprised that they were they put this on an immediate episode of NXT. You figure this has got to be, when they do this proper on an NXT special, it's going to be Owens' like, farewell, I'm going off to the main roster now match. It can't be for the belt. I'm pretty sure he's going to lose the belt on the July 4th special to Finn Balor. With all the, not only does it make sense, not only Do you want to have one match between these two guys where they're not fighting over anything? But they're putting a lot of promotional effort behind Finn Balor at the moment, which is really, excuse me, guys, which is really, really good. This was great. This was the proverbial Mack trucks running into each other. I know that there is a theory among the sort of the smarky wrestling fans where, you know, we're tired of big guys, we're tired of John Cena, we're tired of the Rock, we're tired of Sheamus and all this other things. We want to see the athletic guys, the fast guys, the guys with a lot of endurance and whatever. You want to see the Nevilles and the Sami Zayns and the Kofi Kingstons and the Tyson Kidds and all that sort of thing, which is great and wonderful and fantastic, and I don't take anything away from any of those guys. But these guys are not small guys. These guys are not the prototypical wrestler that you guys are all trying to ignore. These are guys that prove that you can be big and still move around fast and still be agile as hell. Especially the running enziguri by Joe and the cannonball by Owens, and not that he did it in this match, but all the hopping on the top rope moonsault type stuff that Owens has proved that he can do. You don't need to be small to do that stuff. I mean, do these guys look like a John Cena? Do they look like a Rock? Do they look like a Sheamus, etc.? No, they're breaking the mold, and it's really, really good. But I hope people aren't out there with the idea that as the numbers on the scale go up, the interest goes down, because it's definitely not always the case. I mean, right now we have the return of Rhino, which is being received expertly on NXT, which who would have predicted that? If Rhino showed up on the main roster, it would be made a joke quite quickly, at least in the eyes of the YWC. But because it's happening on NXT and because it's happening in the way it's happening, same thing here. Samoa Joe, if he was jammed right onto the main roster, might not have been as looking as good as he is right now, because he would have run into somebody like the Big Show, or John Cena, or Sheamus, or Randy Orton, or Kane. Can you imagine how much the YWC would be on fire if Samoa Joe debuted against Kane and lost? Let's be real. But this is a great match. It's going to be a great match again. I'm really glad they didn't have a winner, in all honesty. Now, one of them hit the referee, so technically there should have been a disqualification, but I'm cool with this just being a match that was thrown out. This was a good little episode of NXT. There's only 3 matches on it, though. The Finn Balor video package, as great as it is, and I'm really glad that they're taking the time to really, really big this guy up, but it took a lot of the time on the show, and when you've only got a 1-hour show, it means you only have 3 matches. But the 3 matches were good. Charlotte looked great. Cassie, this new girl, didn't totally get squashed by Charlotte, which was nice. We continue the tag team titles storyline, which is also great. We didn't have any action as far as the NXT Women's Championship, but we'll probably get that next week. And we have a long way to build before the next NXT special. Now we switch gears over to SmackDown, where half the people are going to switch off this video, the other half are going to groan and grin and bear it. Not bad news, bear it. Just bear it. SmackDown starts with Sheamus bragging about the Money in the Bank, bragging about how nobody wanted him to succeed. Everybody thought he looked stupid. He mocks the crowd. He says, "How stupid do I look now?" Talks about how he jumped Orton successfully on Raw and how he plans on taking out Rollins and Lesnar on his way to the belt. Ambrose comes out, reminds him that he beat Sheamus on Raw, that if it wasn't for Wyatt costing Roman Reigns the Money in the Bank, Sheamus wouldn't have anything to brag about. And he calls him out for a match tonight. He says, "You know what? I could have some fun. I could kick your ass again tonight if you like." Kane comes out and talks about the fact that Ambrose is a troublemaker. He can't keep his word on anything. Talks about how he doesn't win on pay-per-view very much. He says he's tired of the disrespect and he signs up a 2-on-1 handicap right now. Kane and Sheamus, because there's a team that screams charismatic tag team. Does it not? Ambrose versus Sheamus and Kane doesn't last very long. A drop kick to Sheamus and Ambrose dumps Kane out of the ring. Suicide dive on Kane. Ambrose gets crotched and double teamed in the corner. Roman Reigns comes out, makes the save. The match is tossed out. Ambrose and Roman clean house and clear the ring. Come back from commercial break. They replay the controversial end of the Rollins-Ambrose match at Money in the Bank, which is good. That match was really fucking good. We have it announced by the commentators off screen that Ambrose and Roman versus Sheamus and Kane has been set as the main event match for the night, if the way that segment went didn't already fully tell you that. Paige versus Brie Bella, and the commentators make a big deal of saying that Nikki has opted not to be in her sister's corner tonight, which makes you think that she's going to jump out from under the ring. They replay the scene from Raw that I would have talked about, but it was really retarded, and I didn't do a Raw review anyway. But the whole thing with Paige trying to rally the other divas against the Bellas and how they dominate everything. I will say I love the fact that we're not going to let these two run the place because of who they're married to. I thought that was fucking fantastic. The Bellas come in and sort of break up the rally. We're saying, hey, ever since this and this and this, we've been really tight with Stephanie McMahon, so you can buddy up with Paige all you want, but it's totally your choice. And then they all kind of walk away. Some of them, like Alicia Fox, say they're tired of Paige trying to be a boss, and Paige doesn't speak for them, and we don't need anybody else to listen to, and rah. But basically, so you get this idea that Paige is kind of fighting the good fight on an island by herself, which is a good little thing, because if Paige is the only face, that means we get a lot of Paige on TV, which makes this guy very happy. Anyways, Paige versus Brie Bella starts with a collar and elbow tie up, a running bulldog by Brie, knee to the face by Paige, and a spear in the corner by Paige. Top rope sunset flip powerbomb by Brie, and it's pretty. Sends us to commercial break. Knees to the back by Brie when we get back from commercial break. A swinging neck breaker by Brie, followed up by a mudhole stomp in the corner. Corner elbows and corner knees by Paige. She does the whole who used to do it? Matt Morgan, where she backs you up in the corner and she just throws an elbow back, an elbow back, an elbow back as she goes, sort of rotating at the waist, and then turns her around and then just straight up knees to the face, and it's just Paige is good. Super kick by Paige, rolling cannonball off the apron by Paige. Friggin', as I said, Kevin Owens doing the cannonball is great. Paige doing the cannonball off the ring apron to the outside is very, very, very nice. Alicia Fox tosses Paige off the top rope when she goes for a top rope something. Brie catches her, hits her with the X Factor, which I don't remember what the Bellas call it, but it's the X Factor, so fuck it. Brie wins the match. Alicia Fox poses on the rampway with both Bellas and puts on a Bella shirt. Or doesn't put it on, but starts waving it around. So it's like, is she... I think one of the announcers says something dumb like, is she Alicia Bella now, or whatever. The only way this would make any sense would be if we were building towards Survivor Series, and that's a long way away. We see promo package highlights from Money in the Bank, Cena versus Owens 2, and the attack afterwards. And then we have Owens being interviewed by somebody in the back. They ask him about the disrespect that Cena showed him at the pay-per-view. They ask about the attack on Machine Gun Kelly, and he says it happened for two reasons. A, because Cena wasn't there to protect his little buddy. Nice little historical thing there. MGK played Cena to the ring a couple years ago when he was fighting The Rock. And also because Cena wasn't... also because Machine Gun Kelly laid his hands on him first and starts talking some other shit. I'm going to be the U.S. Championship eventually. Cesaro comes out. And this is really, really good. Because everybody's worried right now with the I really can't put a fucking sentence together at all tonight. With the status of Tyson Kidd, there we go, what's going to happen to Cesaro? I was being told that Cesaro was being booked in a lot of dark matches, which is really, really shitty. Especially when you see, again, going to go back to the Dusty thing for a second. One of the things circulating surrounding Dusty Rhodes' funeral was a picture of Tyson Kidd and Natalya Neidhart. Tyson Kidd showed up to the funeral in a neck brace. You don't want to be photographed at a funeral. You don't want to be photographed in a neck brace. Media needs to fuck off. TMZ, etc. But because of that, we've seen the pictures of Tyson in the neck brace, which doesn't hold a lot of hope for that team, does it? But Cesaro basically comes out, challenges Owens. Basically, he says, all I've heard about is fight Owens fight, but all I've seen is talk Owens talk, which is good. And then he shoves him in the shoulders, and he's like, just to clear anything up, I'm not MGK. I laid my hands on you first, which is a nice little touch. Ziggler and Bo Dallas have a short match after Bo Dallas tries to shame Lana for leaving Rusev. Dropkick by Ziggler, mudhole stomps and a clothesline by Dallas, and a headlock. Ziggler escapes the headlock, zigzag, Ziggler gets the win. There's your match. There's all the Ziggler you get tonight. And in the back, we see Rusev, who's watching the TV and watching we're watching Rusev watch the TV in the back that shows Ziggler and Lana making out, and he starts freaking out, and the only words you can really make out from him are, "Oh my God, she's kissing her, and he's kissing her, and they're doing it right on the mouth." And it's one of those, it's a PG show, where else would you like him to kiss her? I don't know. We get a lot of promotional bullshit for Tough Enough. We get it. Tough Enough is back. Okay. Neville versus Xavier Woods. Obviously, Xavier Woods has the New Day with him, and the commentators do a really, really good job of saying what a bad time New Day are having. They didn't, Kofi didn't win the Money in the Bank. They lost their tag team titles. They're still happy, clappy, clap therapy, all that shit. Neville versus Woods, though. Forearms and a boot by Woods. A king-style fist drop by Woods, and he rides a headlock for a long time, once again to remind us that he is indeed the bad guy. Neville dumps out Woods on the outside and hits that wicked, wicked corkscrew suicide dive that he does. New Day try to rally the troops around, try to intimidate. Primetime players show up to help their new buddy Neville and sort of even out the odds and all that sort of thing. I will say, much like I would have said on Raw, you gotta think that Neville feels out of place here, do you not? Just let that marinate up here for a second. Back in the ring, boot by Neville. Woods crotches Neville on the top turnbuckle. New Day and Primetime players brawl on the outside. First boot misses, second boot hits. Neville hits the red arrow, and Neville wins the match. Neville celebrates in the ring with the Primetime players, and it's all good, I guess. I don't know what you do with a faction consisting of Neville and the Primetime players, but, that's not for me to decide. We replay Lesnar's return on Raw and him making Rollins shit his pants. We have Rollins then come out by himself to cut a promo, says he's the biggest star in the WWE. He talks about Lesnar, he talks about Battleground. He says, "I understand why this has happened, I understand why the authority's doing this to me. I've beaten everybody else. To prove I'm the best, I have to beat Lesnar. But you'll notice that Lesnar didn't do anything to me on Raw. Why? Because he remembers WrestleMania, and he knows how dangerous I am. I can't wait for Battleground." And it's just like, oh dear. Either Rollins is getting a spine, or they're taking a really delusional turn with his character. Because he even mentions in the promo, he's like, this is the guy that broke the Undertaker streak. This is the guy that took Cena and Roman Reigns to Suplex City, and he knows what I can do to him, and he remembers WrestleMania, and I can't wait for Battleground. Yikes. Owens versus Cesaro starts with a quick roll-up attempt by Cesaro. Both men trade punches. Shoulder knockdowns by Owens and a clothesline by Cesaro. Suicide dive by Cesaro, but it's like a suicide dive uppercut thing that's weird but very, very effective. Cesaro eats ring post as we go to commercial break. Chinlock by Owens. A springboard spinning uppercut by Cesaro. A very, very impressive springboard second rope flying tornado DDT by Kevin Owens. You shouldn't... Somebody the size and the make of Kevin Owens shouldn't be able to bounce the way he does. I'm just full 10 points of credit to Owens for that move. A modified rack slam by Cesaro. More and more and more uppercuts by Cesaro. Snake eyes and a back suplex throw by Owens. Cannonball by Owens in the corner. Cesaro drop kicks Owens off the top turnbuckle before he can hit a top rope something, but he still recovers, still hits the pop-up powerbomb, and obviously still gets the win. If he's in a rivalry with Cena, he's not going to lose to Cesaro, is he? But this was a pretty stiff fucking match. Roman and Ambrose versus Sheamus and Kane is just an awkward combination of people. As I say, 2/3 of the Shield versus, the charisma vacuum. Ambrose and Sheamus start. Mudhole by Sheamus. Headbutts by Ambrose in the corner. Uppercuts and elbows by both men. Corner chops and a 10 punch in the corner by Ambrose. Snake eyes by Sheamus. Clothesline and mounted punches by Ambrose. Roman and Ambrose toss Kane out of the ring. As we go to commercial break, Sheamus and Ambrose brawl on the outside. My writing really, really sucks. A slam to Ambrose on the commentator's desk by Sheamus. Mudhole stomps by Sheamus once we get back into the ring. Sheamus drops knees on Ambrose's head, because he's a nice guy. Kane works on Ambrose's leg, which is great psychology coming off the pay-per-view, where, let's be real, Rollins destroyed Ambrose's leg, and he should be walking around on a stump right now. Kane works Ambrose's leg. Sheamus uses the Brock Lock on Ambrose, like he did on Raw. The Brock Lock, for those of you that don't know, and for those of you that aren't going to bother watching SmackDown, basically you've got somebody with a bad leg, you lean over, you wrap their leg around your head, and you stand up so that they're dangling by their injured leg. It's a dirty move. I don't know why friggin' Brock Lesnar doesn't use it anymore. But I've only ever heard it referred to as the Brock Lock. If anybody knows the actual name, you can put it down in the box below, but until then, that's what I'm going to call it. The really mind-boggling part of all this is Ambrose has been selling his leg since Money in the Bank, but meanwhile when he's in the Brock Lock, he does a mid-air sit-up and turns the Brock Lock into a head scissor. It's something you would expect from a prime WCW cruiserweight, and it's really, really nice, especially coming from a nut bar like Ambrose. Sheamus, however, recovers and chops the leg to undo any of that. Kane works on the knee, and then, just for fun, steps on Ambrose's head. Kane beats down Ambrose in the corner, and eats a hangman once Ambrose gets out to the apron. Top rope elbow by Ambrose to a standing Kane. The top rope elbow to a standing opponent, it's an awkward-looking move, but it's awkward in the sense that there's no way that feels good. There's no way that it looks like it's done wrong, so it looks like it hurts. If it's a nice, clean, Shawn Michaels style elbow, you know that his body's really hitting the pavement, or the canvas, or the pavement. Stuck in my hardcore days. His body's hitting the canvas, and basically his elbow is basically draping over the guy. And it's a nice, fluid move that they've practiced a million times, so nobody gets hurt. When you see a move like the standing elbow that Ambrose does, it looks like it's botched, so it looks like it hurts. So it's more effective, and there's a lot of stuff in Ambrose's arsenal that is like that. It's not quite clean, so it looks a lot more effective. Top rope elbow by Ambrose, running clothesline by Roman, rolling clotheslines by Roman, then a corner clothesline by Roman, Samoan drop by Roman, rebound clothesline by Ambrose, brogue kick to Ambrose, Superman punch to Sheamus, but then we see Wyatt on the Tron singing to the picture of Roman Reigns' daughter. And I'm probably alone in this, as I usually am, but I can't wait for this match at Battleground. Wyatt versus Reigns is going to be fucking sick. The serenade, shall we say, on the Tron is enough to distract Roman Reigns. Brogue kick from Sheamus, and Sheamus and Kane get the win. I don't want Kane to win, because that doesn't do anything for anybody. But Sheamus kind of has to look good right now because he's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, somebody with a rocket up his ass as much as Roman has shouldn't be the one that Sheamus looks good at the expense of. But that being said, that loss being so wrong only helps build up the Wyatt versus Reigns feud. So it's a very 50-50 result. As I say, SmackDown was all over the map tonight, if I'm completely honest. NXT didn't have a lot of matches on it, but the matches that were on there were good. We've planted the seeds firmly now for Owens versus Joe anytime we want. I expect Enzo and Cass to get the tag team titles any day now, and Charlotte just keeps making all the other divas look great. So NXT was awesome. SmackDown was kind of all over the place, but it was still a lot of fun, and like I say, haven't done one of these in a long while. Do me a favor, let me know if you stayed to the end. Something I've never ever asked before. I'm tired. I'm rambling at this point because it is, in fact, exactly ridiculous o'clock in the morning. So, I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I'm tagging out. By the way, put more questions in my Q&A. You got like 7 or so days left to do it. So do it. I'm tagging out. Bye.